Come on, I tell
It's Junior! Gentlemen, here we go. George Rose, take it away. Face-off time here in Sydney. We need everybody here in the audience to make some noise. Here we go. They face it off. Sydney, let's hear it for our main event of the afternoon.
I think it's cute, but I mean that ain't what that is. It's Errol Spence versus Tszyu. He's no caliber of his fighter. Of his daddy. So he can't even compare himself to his pops. He fighting me, he trying to get out his daddy's shadow. So we'll see come July 26th, can he get out that shadow?
The Tszyu and Errol Spence Jr. press conference nearly erupted before either fighter had even stepped into the ring. As the event went on, the tension continued to rise until both men came face to face in an intense stare-down, forcing security to step in and separate them before the confrontation escalated any further. It was a dramatic moment that instantly raised the anticipation for what promises to be one of the biggest fights in the boxing calendar.
How do you respond to that, Tim?
It's alright, he likes to talk it up as well. Look, I'm a very respectful guy. I came up to him before, tried to shake his hand, and he just walked past me like a disrespectful. And that just shows the type of person he is, and that's alright, you know. Now he's out here talking about the comparisons between me and my dad. I've heard it all. There's every fighter that I've ever fought has said the same thing.
Man,
so
you've been talking
it's
shit
alright.
on social
It's alright.
media.
They
shot dab me up.
right.
I'm not finna. I don't play them games with people, bro. I don't dab up people who talk shit. And then when you see me, you want, hey, what's up, buddy? Like, I'm not one of those dudes, bro.
Errol Spence Jr. didn't give an inch during the heated exchange, making it clear that he had no intention of being intimidated. Confident in everything he has accomplished throughout his career, Spence reminded everyone that he has built his reputation by defeating world champions and believes this fight will be no different. Tszyu answered with equal confidence, insisting that this is his opportunity to prove a new era has arrived and that he's ready to take over the division. The crowd immediately erupted as neither fighter showed any sign of backing down. Every stare, every response, and every word added to the growing intensity. It was the kind of confrontation that reminded everyone this isn't just another press conference, it's a clash between two men who genuinely believe they will leave the ring victorious.
I'm not one of those guys, if you talking social media, and then when you see me, you want to shake my hand.
I'm very respectful. What are you talking about? I've been calling you one of the best fighters of this decade.
I heard all the little stuff, right. And then want to give me a hug. Like, I'm not
it's all right.
Cool with that. We can hug after the fight. We can hug after the fight.
All right, Errol, I'll leave you with final comments. What are fans going to see Saturday here in the U.S., July 25th, and Sunday in Australia, July 26th?
I mean, it's a war, man. I'm not here to just shake and hug my opponents and all that. Like, it's a war. It's what it is. I'm coming into his hometown, coming to his territory, and I'm looking to take over. So I mean, why would he want to shake my hand? He's coming to destroy me. You know, coming to knock me off and retire me. And, you know, I'm coming to beat him and show him that, you know, he's not up to anything of my pedigree. So it's going to be a great fight. And I know that I will become victorious come July 26th.
Every stare, every word, and every step toward one another made it feel as though the fight had already begun. The intensity between Errol Spence Jr. and Tszyu was impossible to ignore, with neither man showing the slightest sign of backing down. If the emotions on display at the press conference are any indication, Fight Night promises to be even more explosive. The confrontation was so heated that, for a moment, it seemed as though the two fighters might settle their differences before ever reaching the ring. Yet somehow, the face-to-face interview that followed only raised the tension even further, adding another layer of anticipation to one of the year's most talked-about matchups.
You denied that hand. You didn't like it. Errol Spence, is that a sign of no respect or just the timing, the moment?
I respect him, but it's more about the timing and the moment. And, man, we're gearing up for war. come into his own country. He's looking to retire me, and I'm looking to take over in his country and disappoint him and his fans. So I just feel like, and I told him I'd shake his hand and give him a hug after the fight. But right now, it's about war. It's wartime. It's time to go.
You could sense the tension the moment Tim Tszyu extended his hand for a handshake, and Errol Spence refused it. Spence left no room for confusion, making it clear that respect could come after the fight, because for now, it was all business. And honestly, that mentality fits a high-stakes showdown. You don't travel across the world to make friends. You come to spoil your opponent's biggest moment. Tszyu responded with calm confidence, saying there was no war yet because the real battle would begin on fight night. It was the kind of composed answer that stood out, especially because he never looked shaken for a single second.
Did you feel war before you got in here?
That's all right. That's if we're gonna play like that, that's all right. Like everyone's each to their own. I get how it is. I'm good. I'm sweet with that.
Is it war now, or was it war before now?
There's no war now.
There's no war now.
There's gonna be war on fight night. And I'm geared up for it. I'm just locked in now. Made me a little bit less happier, a bit more.
Meanwhile, Errol Spence insisted that tune-up fights serve no purpose, reminding everyone that he has always preferred jumping straight into the toughest challenges instead of easing his way back. That's vintage Spence. The conversation then shifted into subtle verbal shots about retirement, ring rust, and who was truly prepared for the moment before Spence casually threw out, "Let's spar today." Right there, it became obvious neither fighter was putting on an act. The smiles meant nothing. In many ways, the fight had already begun. They were simply waiting for the opening bell to make it official.
I want the best competition that's available. I respect him. He definitely got a lot of heart. He got a lot of pride, So I think it's gonna be great. But I'm not one of those guys who just, I take a tune-up, yeah. Or I need another tune-up, Like I'm not, that's wasting time for me. I feel like it's wasting time. I'm fighting somebody I know I'm gonna beat. Like, what's the point of that?
Mm-hmm.
I want to fight somebody who, people have doubts.
Mm-hmm.
They'll give me more motivation when people got doubts. Like, man, either gonna come back that same guy, he's gonna come back the same killer. Is he still the biggest? You know what I'm saying? So I definitely look to show everybody and prove to myself and prove to everybody that I am still the biggest in any division that I'm in.
If the face-to-face interview sparked debate, Teddy Atlas only added more fuel to the fire. He kept returning to one key issue in activity. And truthfully, that may be the biggest unanswered question surrounding this fight. Everyone remembers the version of Errol Spence before his long layoff. That's not what's being debated. The real concern is whether that same fighter will still be there after spending 3 years away from the ring. Teddy acknowledged that Spence has already achieved a level of success Tim Tszyu has yet to reach, but he also stressed that boxing is not a sport where past accomplishments guarantee future victories. Every fighter eventually has to prove who they are today, not who they were years ago.
Maybe we already got a little bit of a peek into what inactivity does. It was 2 years longer, and it was a different, it's a different sport, but it's a combat sport. It's UFC, of course. But Conor McGregor, 5 years off, you can't do it. I mean, Muhammad Ali, when he came back 3.5 years off, he had 2 tune-ups, and he couldn't beat Joe Frazier the first fight.
Teddy then expanded the discussion by bringing up names like Muhammad Ali and Conor McGregor while talking about ring rust, timing, and fading reflexes. At that point, it became clear this wasn't just a conversation about punching power anymore. It was about everything that can quietly disappear during 3 years away from the ring without anyone noticing. Even so, I'm not ready to count Errol Spence out. We've watched him walk into hostile environments before and silence an entire crowd with his performances. That's always been part of who he is. Teddy also highlighted another important factor I hadn't fully considered, the move up to 160 pounds. Spence's decision to fight at a higher weight introduces another major question, and boxing fans are always drawn to those unknowns until the first bell finally rings. Even the coaching change involving Jeff Finech gave Teddy another reason to wonder how this fight might unfold.
Know that Tszyu has a legendary former champion now training him.
Fennec.
And Jeff Fennec. And I sometimes you could say, wow, that's a good thing. I don't know if it's all. We'll find out. I don't know if it's always. Maybe it is. I don't know if it always is. because I've seen former fighters. I've been in the trenches, seen it, where former fighters, some of them become like Buddy McGurk, became a really good trainer. Andy Lee become a really good trainer, but some of them don't. Some of Roy Jones didn't quite get there to that, and sometimes it's because they try to impose what they did onto the other, and it can't happen all the time that way. Not everyone could do what you did. Not everyone could do that.
He also pointed out that not every legendary fighter automatically becomes a great trainer. Sometimes experience is a huge advantage, but other times it can unintentionally push a fighter to abandon the style that made them successful in the first place. That's exactly why this matchup is so fascinating. Every answer seems to create another question. Tszyu brings activity, youth, size, and the advantage of fighting at home. Errol Spence counters with the stronger resume, the higher proven ceiling, and the mindset of a fighter who has never been intimidated by competing on the road. Teddy gives Tszyu the edge because he believes there are simply fewer unanswered questions surrounding him, and that's a reasonable argument. But the interesting part is that every time people convince themselves this fight is easy to predict, it somehow becomes even more difficult to call. That's what makes boxing so compelling. Once the opening punch is thrown, every prediction has to prove itself inside the ring.
But again, Spence, smaller man or not, was the higher level, in my mind, and on paper, the higher level talent fighter than Tszyu. But Tszyu his advantages are obviously, again, simplistic. He's fighting at home. He's been active. Yeah, he's been knocked out twice, but he's been active. He had a couple wins in between his last loss. Build-up wins, confidence builders, all that stuff.
5 years younger.
5 years younger, and he's he's again natural bigger guy.
And that's where Jeff Fenech's perspective adds another fascinating layer to this fight. While everyone else is focused on ring rust, weight changes, and all the unanswered questions surrounding the matchup, Fenech is concentrating on something that can't be measured with statistics. He repeatedly emphasized that Tszyu doesn't have to win the press conference, he only needs to remain completely focused on the task ahead. And honestly, that's exactly how Tim has carried himself all week. There has been no unnecessary trash talk or attempts to steal the spotlight, just a fighter who already looks mentally prepared for battle. Fenech even revealed that the biggest achievement of training camp wasn't teaching Tszyu a brand new combination, but helping him enjoy boxing again. That's an interesting perspective. Most trainers spend fight week discussing strategy, footwork, and technique, while Fenech believes a happy, confident fighter can be the most dangerous version of himself. I actually understand that way of thinking, because confidence doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes it's shown by the fighter who stays quiet while everyone else is searching for a reaction.
My legacy's done, brother. All I'm doing,
yeah.
understand that. What I'm doing is I'm helping a young kid who needs help.
Yeah.
Win, lose or draw, I know I've helped this man.
Yeah.
Or this young man. I know I've helped him tremendously. I mean, you get all these people asking questions, asking me questions. And listen, there's only one person you've got to ask. Go in the other room and say to Tim, how do you feel? Are you happy? Have your preparation been right? That's Jeff Fenech going to help you. I've more than helped him. Like I said, I've made him a happy human being. And he hasn't been that for a long time. And I'm so proud of doing.
Jeff Fenech then shifted the conversation toward tactics, explaining that Errol Spence will likely try to force Tszyu into fighting at his preferred pace, while their objective is to pull Spence into the kind of fight that suits Tim. That's what elite level boxing is all about. Long before punches are thrown, it's a battle of game plans and strategic thinking. Another thing that stood out was Fenech's refusal to make the spotlight about himself. He repeatedly said his own legacy is already secure, and that his only priority now is helping Tim become the best fighter he can be. That's the kind of confidence that doesn't need constant attention. Even when the interviewer began talking about victory and celebrations, Fenech immediately redirected the focus back to taking the fight one round at a time. I respect that approach because championships are usually won by fighters concentrating on the next 3 minutes, not what comes afterward. So now the picture is clear. Teddy Atlas is questioning the unknowns, Jeff Fenech is emphasizing preparation and mentality, Errol Spence is relying on experience, and Tszyu is trusting the work he's put in. Everyone has a different perspective, and that's usually a sign that boxing is about to answer the only question that truly matters once the opening bell sounds.
We've got a huge job ahead of us. I mean, all these people saying, what's Jeff Fenech going to do? I've already done what I need to do. I've made Tim happy. I've given him the best camp that he's had. I mean, everybody says, I've had the best training camp. Well, this is not the best training. This is completely different to what Tszyu does, and It's a completely different Tim Tszyu that I'm talking to. I've spoken to him prior to fights before. You don't get much out of him. He's not sour, but he's not happy. He's always in that mental state that I'm just want to kill somebody. He's not in that state now. He's in a state that I'm the happiest guy in the world. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to prove to the world that I'm the best fighter.
The mentality Jeff Finnick kept emphasizing is one of the reasons Paulie Malignaggi refuses to make an early prediction. He keeps returning to the same conclusion. This fight raises far more questions than it answers. And honestly, that's a fair approach. Too many people seem convinced they already know how this matchup will play out, while Paulie is saying we first need to see which version of Errol Spence actually steps into the ring after such a long absence. That's the biggest unknown of them all. According to Malignaggi, everyone already understands Tim Tszyu's strengths and weaknesses, but Spence remains a mystery after 3 years away from competition. Paulie then shifted to the stylistic battle, making the discussion even more compelling. He reminded everyone that Spence is far more than a pressure fighter. His entire offense is built around a sharp southpaw jab that sets up his devastating work to the body. If that familiar rhythm is still intact, Tszyu could face a difficult night. But then Paulie immediately raised another important question, whether Spence's punch resistance is still what it once was. That's what makes this fight so fascinating. Every possible answer only seems to create another unanswered question.
Is there really an expert opinion when a guy's been out for 3 years? How do you know what you're gonna get? It's very difficult to just pinpoint it for sure. It's like we know how Tim's been looking. We know where Tim's showing some flaws, and we know where Tim's showing some strength, right? Even in this little recovery of a couple of wins he's had recently, with Errol, we have nothing. We have nothing at all. I don't. I'd love to be able to break down and detail and things like that. Errol's usually a machine. He comes forward, he presses behind a high guard and all this southpaw stance, southpaw jab. But does he have punch resistance left?
I also enjoy how Paulie Malignaggi brought Jeff Finnick's perspective back into the discussion, arguing that the biggest transformation in Tim Tszyu may not be technical at all, it could be mental. That fits perfectly with everything Finnick has been emphasizing throughout camp. A more confident Tim, a happier Tim, and a fighter willing to apply pressure instead of waiting for opportunities. Paulie also noted that moving straight backward against a skilled southpaw like Errol Spence is a dangerous strategy, so don't be surprised if Tszyu looks to make the fight uncomfortable from the very first bell. He then delivered one of the week's most memorable comments, joking that he'd tell everyone who was going to win after the second round. It was probably the most honest prediction anyone has offered. Paulie even laughed that betting on this fight feels almost like pure gambling because there are simply too many unknowns to be completely confident. That's exactly why this matchup has captured so much attention. One side believes the proven champion will return to his best, while the other believes that time changes every fighter and somehow both arguments remain believable until the first clean shot lands.
If Tim can be physically stronger as a naturally bigger guy and also make Spence pay on the end, maybe countering that jab with some power right hands. I noticed Tim early in the first Fundora fight was using that right hand very well, a little wide right hand. He's a southpaw, which tends to work. We can start to see maybe you test Errol's chin a little bit and see where he's at, because I think, getting hit with 8 or 10 ounce gloves when you haven't been hit in a few years and you weren't taking the shots that well when you did go, I think if you're Tim, you want to remind him early. He's been away for 3 years. They call Spence in America Mr. No Tune-Up. I don't necessarily agree Mr. No Tune-Up is the way to go here, especially when you've been looking as bad as Spence had.
That's exactly what makes this matchup so compelling. Everyone has a prediction, but nobody truly knows the answer until the first punches are thrown. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Who do you think comes out on top? Will Errol Spence return and silence every doubt surrounding his comeback? Or will Tim Tszyu defend his home ground and prove that this is his moment? Share your prediction in the comments below because this debate is only going to grow louder before fight night. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, share with fellow boxing fans, and subscribe to the channel for more boxing news, fight analysis, and post-fight reactions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.